What's going on, guys? This is Joel here from Slender, and today we're going to take a look at the vocal section of the track. We have here the dry vocal. It's just a loop from I think it's Vandalism Tropical House vocals. I will link it down in the description where you can buy this pack. It has some really nice vocals, especially for Tropical House. So if you don't have access to vocals, I highly recommend you to get that. We have also, let's call this first main vocal. Main vocal, and we have also a backing vocal. And we're going to duplicate the track later because we are doing some padding here just to make the vocal lighter. But today's topic of discussion is how I usually process my vocals. There are several ways to do it. I will just let you know what I think would work for this track. First of all, of course, you need the pitch correction, which is like an auto-tune. Normally, the sample packs already are auto-tuned, but just to make sure that the singer is on key, make sure to put always the pitch correction or the melodyne or the flex pitch or whatever you use on your vocal, just to let everything be in key. Well, the first thing I usually do is I put an EQ on the vocal. I'm just going for the FEB filter one because I think it's the most, the cleanest one of all. So we're making a low cut filter, a low cut here, and let's see where
every time that I see.
So,
and
you always want to make sure to give your vocal a bit room, especially in the frequency range of around 1K, because this is usually the frequency where the vocal pops through the most. So you can see it here.
Every time here that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
And what is a really cool tip about the FabFilter Pro Q2 and all the FabFilter plugins, by the way, is that you can do an auto gain, which means if I, for example, put on a high shelf filter, you will notice that the volume is going up, and with the auto gain, you're just infecting the color of the sound. So let me show that.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
So you'll notice it's getting louder.
And every time
but with the auto gain on,
that I drive to you, it's always
we're just affecting the color.
So let me sing for
that's
you.
what it is. So we're probably giving it a bit of high shelf on the very highs, just to let it a bit pop through.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
Let's A-B this without the EQ.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
It's a very subtle difference. Maybe we have to go down a bit. But it really makes a difference because we don't want to have those frequencies that we don't need, as I already mentioned in this section here. We want to get a clean mix. Usually I put a compressor on a vocal just to even out everything. I think it's already done here, but there are also some parts where she's really quiet. So we're going to reduce the dynamic range of the volume so that we have a less dynamic vocal. I usually go for -3 on this compression. It's from Waves. We have to make sure that the volume is not clipping. So
every time
to reduce the
that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
Oh,
and
that's
every
too
time
much.
that I drive to you, it's always worth my while.
Yeah,
every
that's cool.
time that I drive to you, it's always worth
Gain
my
a bit
while.
up just to give it the loudness back. And then I usually put a send bus. I always go with the last ones. And let's call that reverb. Because now we're going to put a reverb on the vocal. And the main difference, if you put it on the channel, I can show it to you afterwards. If you put it on the channel, it will affect the signal, the dry signal. And if you put it on the send, it will just take it's kind of you're processing in another track. So for example, a send is the same thing than just duplicating this down, and if I just drag the reverb in here and make it really quiet, so that's basically a send. But instead of making a new channel, you can just send it to another channel strip, which is bus 32. You have to make sure that the mix is all the way to 100% because otherwise it doesn't get affected. Really cool tip, by the way, if you put Alt and you click on this send, it gets to 0 dB. So now you will notice that the reverb is maybe a bit too much, but we will going to fix that.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes
But
me
if I put
smile.
the reverb directly on the channel, it would sound like that.
Every time
And
that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
it's just ruining the sound. So what we're doing is we're going to put another EQ on the reverb because we only want the higher frequencies to cut through. The lower frequencies would just cause phase issues. So we make sure the reverb is cut.
That I see your face, it always
Yeah.
makes me smile. Oh, oh. And every
That's cool.
time that I drive to you, it's always
So we're
worth
going to
my
put the
while.
decay time a little bit less, depth to 100%, late size a bit down, and we want a bright room. And now it sounds like that.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
It's a bit washed out, I have to say. Maybe we have to do that a bit better.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes me smile. Oh, oh. And every time that I drive to you, it's always worth my while.
And now you can notice that it sounds way, way better. But this is a little trick. You can just put an OTT on it. I usually always put an OTT on my vocal, but with a very subtle compression. I'm just going for 31, maybe 35 or 40. That's cool. And the depth, we really have to figure out which is
Every time
the best for the depth.
that I see your face, it always makes me smile. Oh, oh. And
Yeah, that's
every
cool.
time,
And now you can really hear the difference without the OTT
every time
and with the OTT.
that I see your face, it
Just get
always
louder
makes me
and
smile.
clearer, and this is what we try to achieve. So in the mix, it sounds like that right now. So I'm just going.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes me smile. Oh, oh. And every time that I drive to you, it's always worth my while. Oh, oh. So let me sing for you, like the birds in the mountains do, like a child who
So
cries
let's
for
A-B
you.
this one more time, just in this section here, that you hear what we've done with no effects on. With
That
the
I drive
effects.
to you, it's always worth my while.
It sounds a lot clearer and it sounds a lot brighter, and this is what we want for the vocal. So Now we're going to take a look at the backing vocal, because this is a bit different. And what we're doing is, Logic has a really nice feature when it comes to buses. The buses are simply amazing. What a bus basically does is, before the signal goes through the master output, you can control the each individual sounds on the bus. So we're now, when I'm changing something on the backing vocal, it just gets automatically changed for both of the backing vocals, left and right. So, but first we need to hard pan this, let's say 34 right, and here 34 left, minus 34. So, and we're ending up with a very bright sound now.
Like the birds in the mountains do, like a child who cries for you. Sing for you, like the birds in the mountains do.
So, we're going to low cut everything.
Sing for you, like the birds
As you
in
can
the
hear, there are
mountains
some
do.
harmonics, so she's not singing in the same key. We're also putting an OTT on it just to give it a bit more of that crushed feel, and upward compression, downward compression we can let just be where it is. Maybe we can put some high frequencies through it, because we're going to put it very hard in the stereo field afterwards.
Sing for you, like the birds in the mountains do.
What we're now going to do is we're going to send a reverb on it as well. And this reverb we're putting very, very hard.
Sing for you, like the birds in the mountains do. Like a
I think that should
child who
work.
cries for you.
But let's hear.
Sing for you, like the birds in the mountains do. Like a child who cries for you, cries for you. So let me sing for you, about the streets and the avenues. There's nothing I'd rather do.
Clearly hear that the main vocal is in the center, and that the backing vocals are also in the center. So we're just going to put our main vocal in mono, just to center the sound a bit. And now we are putting the isotope ozone imager, which is free, by the way. I try to work as much with the free plugins for you guys, that you can hear that the quality doesn't matter of the plugins you use. Of course, there is the stock Logic, where is it, imaging, the direction mixer, but I barely use that. I just think it doesn't sound that cool than the ozone imager, but that's a personal taste. So now I can hear
Sing for you, like the birds in the mountains do. Like a child who cries for you.
out the backing vocal to the side. And you can see that on the vectorscope
like
as
the birds in the mountains do.
This is the
like
mono
a
level
child
and
who
this
cries
is
for
the stereo level. And on the polar level you can see it better.
Sing for you,
The mono
like
level
the birds
would
in
be
the mountains
just
do.
one thick line, and we're having here this kind of triangle. That's what we wanted to achieve, but the backing vocal is a bit too loud now. So, but I think we fixed that now.
Sing for you, like the birds in the mountains do. Like a child who cries for you, cries for you. So let me sing for you, about the streets and the avenues. There's nothing I'd rather do, rather do.
So I think we're finished with the vocal processing for a minute now. We're definitely going to change some things, especially the gain automation and the stuff like that, because I think the vocal is a bit too loud in the mix. But instead of making it perfect now, I just show you a little trick to introduce your vocal. It's basic knowledge, but I highly recommend it to you. Oh, I have to
Sing for you.
We're just going to take the first few words, this every time here, and I'm going to make a cut and put this down here. And what we're doing now is, instead of having it in mono, we're putting the Where is it? The Valhalla room on it. And we're giving it 100% wet. We're giving it a very high delay, a very high reverb, sorry. It's a bit too much. I think that's cool. And what we're doing now is we copied all the processing that we have here, except the gain, because we don't want it in mono. What we now can do is click on bounce to audio or bounce in place, and now it will bounce the file. Now we have hidden the vocal that we put the reverb on is now a WAV file. What we can do now is double click on it, and under functions you can invert or reverse the vocal. The transient we don't want to keep, so we cut out the transient. What we're doing now is we put on the reverb one more time. And let's hear what that sounds like. That's cool. And what we are now ending up is with a reversed vocal that introduces the vocal. It's weird, but you can now hear it.
Every time that I see your face, it always makes me smile.
First vocal. Of course, you can always goof around with different functions. I usually put a fade in. Let's see where the fade instrument is. Fade in about here, so that it doesn't come straight into the face like that. It's a bit smoother, I think, but the transition here is not completed yet, so it's just another part of this first transition. So that was basically it for today's video. It's a bit longer than I expected, but vocal processing is not really easy. It really depends on the vocal that you have. We're definitely doing the tutorial series further on. And afterwards, we're more concentrating on vlogs, like, you know, that the first summer day and all those kind of videos. But we want to finish that. So if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Ciao.